Hey everybody! It's Robert again, Robert the Nomad, and in this video I'm going to tell you all about how I became a nomad, what happened, and where I started off. As I mentioned in the preview, I'm originally from South Florida, just north of Miami, not quite in Miami. So it was February of 2020, and I decided that I was going to move. I didn't want to live in South Florida anymore because I felt it was a little bit overpriced. I got a really good deal on the room that I was living in, but I wanted to see what else was out there. I heard North Florida was a little bit cheaper. So, what I did was I got in my car, I got rid of all the things that I couldn't fit in my car, and I just drove north. I booked an Airbnb in St. Johns County in St. Augustine. It was a nice place. It was almost like a villa all to myself. And it was not the typical place that I would book for myself because I don't need all that. But I got up to St. Augustine and I thought, this is a little touristy, but it's nice. Um, and I looked around at apartments and different living arrangements there. I didn't find anything that I liked, and I said to myself, well, if I don't find anything that I like or anything that's appealing in about a week, then I guess I'm going to live a nomadic lifestyle. So, St. Augustine and St. Johns County, it's a beautiful area. You really should go there to check it out. Maybe stay a week like I did. It's got that old town feel to it, but it's also got a lot of historic places. It was a really nice place, and the reason that I went there was because when I was about 8 or 9 years old, my school took me on a field trip up that way, and it all just seemed magical. I think it was around the holidays, but it was just historic. It was illuminated. There were old historic buildings, people in uh, era accurate costumes, there were stories. It was really cool. I got to see the fort over there when I was a little kid, and I wanted to experience that again and hey, maybe live up that way. If it was as cool as I remember, why not? But St. Johns County was a little bit expensive. So I said, okay, I'll check out Jacksonville. I can just drive up to Jacksonville and see what's over there. So uh, these college kids had an open space. One of them was moving out. I was gonna check out the open room, and they seemed really cool. I really liked these people, and one of the guys I was talking to could really cook because you'd smell it in the kitchen. So good. So I spoke with them, and I really thought about that night, and I thought, this is definitely an option that I could go with. And that was all well and good, but parking was a little bit sparse, and we were right next to a college, so it was good, but not perfect. The next place I checked out was a home in a cul-de-sac, and the cul-de-sac was pretty nice compared to where I'm used to living. The cul-de-sac was very nicely put together. The couple that owned the house were very sweet. They had a border Aussie, and I love animals. Uh, I don't think I got to meet who I would be living with. She sounded like a nice lady, though. Room was just about the right size for me because I don't need a lot of space. But I went there and it was like, this is nice, but it's also not perfect. So that's really where my last night in St. Augustine, where I was just laying on the couch in the really nice villa that I'm not used to, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be a nomad for a while. And I just it was a nice last night in St. Augustine, but I wish that I'd gotten to see more of the attractions again as an adult. I drove around there, but I didn't get to really check it out. So I mentioned earlier that I had gone to Jacksonville and I had checked out a few places. That wasn't the last time I was in Jacksonville. I ended up turning down both of those places, but I booked an Airbnb in the area. Um, and it was at a place called the Fun Fortress with a hostess named Tracy. Really, really sweet lady. But I had gone there. I didn't really have a long-term plan for what I was going to do in North Florida or how I was going to get out. I'd stayed there for a week. I had worked. I work as an ESL teacher. Link in the description. Um, and I had taught classes over there, and I did a live show for a little while with a hostess named Claire, who's also a really nice lady. And that was that. I had spent some time there trying to figure out my next move. I had no idea what I was going to do. Um, but it was a pleasant place to stay for the time being. The area around it wasn't perfect. Jacksonville is a little bit complicated. And when I say that, I mean that Jacksonville isn't really like one city. It's a group of cities patched together with a highway. And it almost works like a web. So I was staying by these really tall bridges, and I hate heights. But other than that, it was kind of run down in the area outside of the neighborhood where I was staying. Not somewhere where I want to live long term, but I did meet a real estate developer who was planning on fixing it up, which was also very interesting. And he said something that sort of stuck with me for many, many months, and he claimed that I was running away from something. Maybe he was right. So after I stayed with Tracy at the Fun Fortress, I went to another part of Jacksonville and stayed with another host by the name of Johnny and his roommate John. Really cool guys. Johnny was an electrical engineer. John was an online poker player who'd been a physics teacher, I think, some kind of math, smarter than me. But I chatted with them a little bit, but it was mostly just working groceries. There wasn't really anything to that part of Jacksonville, except that the Dunkin' Donuts still had apple and spice, which that's my donut. After that, I drove to Sebring for Easter to be with my grandmother and the rest of my family, my grandfather, my parents, my sister, and it was good to see family again. I'd missed them. When I was driving on the highway towards my next destination, which I'll tell you about later, I saw my sister on the road and we waved to each other, and it was really cool. It was kind of like the end of that movie that I didn't see, The Fast and the Furious, where Vin Diesel and that other actor are looking at each other and they're like nodding. It's like, hey, hey. And it was just good to see my sister on the way out. But that's how I left Florida. That was the last of my dealings in Florida in 2020. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been to Florida, South Florida, North Florida, if you found that things were a little pricey or inexpensive in some parts. If you're interested in learning English, check the description for my ESL website. I'd be happy to have you in my class. We can chit-chat about a lot of different topics. And thanks for watching.